Like, don't worry about this. Just make sure my other son's all right.
Like when you lose someone, your first nature is. That's how I am with tragedy. If something bad happens, or like my family's got like a lot of like medical issues, so something kind of goes down, my first thing is like make sure so and so's okay, make sure so and so's informed. That's how I am and stuff like that. It's like I want at the very least like these people know, they know what's going on. I want the full details. The worst thing you can do to someone is be like, oh, there's something going on we don't know. Because that's like the worst panic you can give people. And that like draws an ethical question. It's like if you have someone who's like getting ready to like pass away or like they're in like hospice or something like that, it's like, do you just wait till after? Or do you try to worry people like, hey, tonight's could be the night? Like, it's like, where are you gonna like be that person and be like, all right, everyone come here, say your goodbyes, and that'd be it.
How do you guys feel about the person like that did this like getting away?
Yeah, they still haven't been found.
Yeah.
All like law enforcement was like down there.
It drives me. It more confuses me than like drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because especially like when you know, like I have family who are like first responders. When you know like the methods on how they catch people, the technology, and you also put in mind this was a social event where a ton of eyewitnesses could be around, and like you don't. It confuses me.
Like nobody saw anything.
Like
Was the death accidental?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
From what I read.
Yeah. The guy that died like wasn't involved in the argument.
Yeah.
So he meant to shoot someone else. but
Yeah,
someone shot
from
him.
what I read, it was two people, two like teenage, early 20s boys that were in an argument with each other, and then shots were fired, and he was caught in the crosshair along with two other people. But he was the only one that died.
Yeah. I think the other two is like a 22-year-old male and then like a 42-year-old female were the other two adults that were shot.
Oh.
But like you said, all three were just.
So they do have a description of the two
Yeah.
people that started it. They just don't know where they're at.
It's like very,
It's very vague.
very vague and broad.
Yeah.
right.
It's like I think they were just saying like black young male
Between
between
18 and 20 or
18 and
early
42.
That
20s.
narrows it down.
I mean, literally, like. Well, what's crazy to me is like.
And
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna say, like, what's crazy to me is like descriptions like that. It's like, why even bother?
Yeah.
It'd be like if I got stabbed and it's like, oh, he wore a black shirt. It's like, fine. You walk around campus, you might 150 people wearing a black shirt.
I don't understand why they put that vague. Like if it's
Yeah.
more,
I think it's the mindset of at least it's something.
yeah.
Right,
That's exactly what it is.
I feel
Yeah.
like that when they do that, it like kind of targets a certain crowd.
right.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
so,
does.
Like, what if that's not that person, and then you think it's that person, so you're just like,
Like you should be like I don't know, and like don't just go out with like the generic statement of we're looking for a black guy,
yeah.
because that's
Gonna
like think
target-
about like this like New Albany and Jeff
Yeah.
have predominantly African, well, not predominantly, but they have a strong African American presence within their communities. That it's just not healthy rhetoric for the police
Yeah.
to use.
And it's just
yeah.
I feel like that could just target like a certain community.
And like it's it's important to hold like whoever did this accountable for what they did, like
Right.
because obviously like what happened is bad.
I feel
Yeah.
like there should be some video footage like downtown or
You'd think.
something. 'cause
Or
we
Yeah.
have
one of
so-
the three cops on
Yeah.
every street would have saw it.
Yeah,
Body cam or something.
because
like that.
like that is the one thing that is very prevalent about Harvest Homecoming is that the New Albany Police Department is out in force all the
Yeah.
time, and yet somehow
Goes there.
two suspects were able
Got
to
away.
just
Yeah.
They were able to
Banding
get me.
off.
They were able to get me with expired tags real easily. Why can't they find
yeah, no,
someone
for real.
with a
I
gun?
think it's crazy that like New Albany like patrols the wrong thing. Like they'll be in unmarked cars for traffic stops, but it's like we have way bigger things to worry about.
Well, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's everywhere.
I believe that the police are incompetent.
Just let me speed, man.
Yeah.
You can't speed, but you can steal and you can do hard drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like what you were talking about and stuff like with like priorities. It's we talk about like speeding and stuff. I feel like if I was a cop and it was like you can do two things. There's this large social gathering that's going to have thousands of people, or you can sit up on this side road and wait for a high schooler coming back going 10 over. It's like you think it kind of be all hands on deck on where the most, because that's where it is. It's protect people. And it's like you think you'd go to the place where most people in the surrounding areas are gonna be,
Right.
and that's just, again, one way we talk about stuff like that. Another part of the stuff going on recently is all hurricanes and stuff like that. To kind of like change topics just a little bit. I think it's like Florida getting ready to get hit with another one too.
I think there's a potential for a tropical depression to form, like
that
into
what
a
it is?
hurricane, but I don't think there's anything confirmed right now.
Free, baby.
Tropical what?
Tropical depression.
What's a
which is
tropical depression?
like a tropical storm,
That's what I
essentially.
feel.
When the hurricane gets real sad.
It's when you're
yeah.
sad during
That's what I feel
summertime.
inside. Yeah.
Oh, so it's just like dark and gloomy outside all the time?
pretty much.
Oh, like a nuclear winter, but with hurricanes?
I
That's basically
Yes.
Before we get to like the tragedy of it, how about Lieutenant Dan? Do you see that guy? He was out on a sailboat during the
Have
hurricane.
you seen all the
He
stuff
just
that's
he like
followed up with it,
strapped
though?
himself in and he survived it.
Yeah.
That's sick.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's walking around. He's like,
Wow.
I'll do it again. He's like, God told me to come out here on my boat, and I'll do it again.
And he lived it.
He lived it.
That's awesome.
He's just out there, and they're like, why did you do this? And he's like, God told me to move to Tampa, get a boat. So I'm here with my boat. I'm not leaving it. He's fine.
That's sick.
Well,
Might
John's-
also have something to do with his extensive criminal history, but
Oh, does it really?
Yeah,
What a blow.
It's probably that.
Well, what drove me weird is when like all the evacuation zones came out, and like I saw at the time, it's like we're in the #1 evacuation zone in Tampa, so we brought this plywood to put against our window, and I'm like, I don't. Granted, I've never been in a hurricane. I think you'd want to get out of town, like.
Yeah, probably.
I'll be honest though, seeing like the shutters that people have on their house, like that looks
Yeah.
like the purge. Level
Literally.
stuff. Like
I don't know. I've seen people like stake down their houses. Like
I saw that
tent,
too.
And it's like, okay, so for real.
I
It's
saw
not gonna do anything.
I saw one with a guy where he strapped it down and he poured like concrete 8 feet deep into the
Yes.
ground. And I get it. It's your home. I get you got stuff there, but I can't remember like what it was, but there was a guy who like he went on this like 10-minute tirade about that. Like, this is my home. I've survived hurricane so. It's like I'm gonna stay here. And then like the next video footage is his home just absolutely leveled.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get like meteorologists, they get a few minute details wrong,
Yeah.
but like when they say this is the worst thing you're ever gonna see, you should probably take it to heart.
yeah.
Yeah. If a piece of plywood is your last line of defense, we've got bigger issues.
I mean, I saw videos of people they're in canoes in their house
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
halfway through,
Yeah,
they're
there's
like
a
half
guy,
like
kayaking
Swim
around
into the
his
living
house.
room?
yeah, literally. Like to me, that is insane. And it goes into, I know that whole thing opened up a conversation about global warming and all this stuff, like the doomsday clock, whatever they have in New York. It's like, I walk a thin line with like climate change. I believe in it, obviously, but it's like, I don't think you're ever going to be able to convince people like fully to the point of at least doing something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's you can make the point that like, oh, all these other countries are, adding massively to the greenhouse gas effect. So
China.
why should I do my part?
You're going to tell Taylor Swift not to take a plane from St.
Right.
Louis to Chicago?
I wouldn't. That's why I really don't like. Not say I don't care about it, but like climate change is not a subject that I ever really find myself like ever being vocal about or in like fight against, just because of the sheer amount of like negligent power I have over it.
I get that.
There's other things that I rally behind, like gun control and abortion laws and stuff like that. But that's like social stuff that I think is more the weather or like ecosystem and stuff like that. Like there's so much stuff we can't control about that.
I think
I agree that you like can't do much on that kind of stuff, but my thing is like I'm 100% always gonna say the most like educated on it as I can be.
sure.
Like, yeah, maybe me recycling is not gonna like
Save
stop
a city.
the desert from flooding, but I'm gonna at least stay educated on like what's happening, what I can do personally to like do my best and like play my part. But I think it's just you don't want to be like blindsided to what's going on.
I have something to ask y'all, like in the subject of tragedy. So like when something happens, that's like really socially like negative, like the incident that happened recently where the man in Minnesota got wrongfully executed. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
So, like in a situation like that, or the Breonna Taylor incident, like how do you handle? Like, what do you do when tragedies like that demand like a present or a demonstration or a protest? Like, how do y'all have y'all ever participated in anything socially tragic that resulted in a rallying or anything like that? Have y'all ever been a part of anything, a movement?
I was
You could.
I was stuck in traffic when the Breonna Taylor situation happened. So, like, it was very different. Like, because how I like read up on history about like protests. Like, so they were like pouring milk. They were like very angry. So it's like I like people that protest in like a respectful way, like how they kind of used to do like during the Malcolm X era and like the Martin Luther King era. So I think now like everybody just gets very aggressive and then like tries to trash the whole town. I don't think that sends a message, but
I think there's a fine line between a protest and a riot.
Yeah.
And I think what
Sure.
people have been doing as of recent is rioting.
yeah.
Well, and like the other thing is that's so unfortunate for the people that are actually there to lawfully protest
Yeah.
and lawfully spread their message is you get these knuckleheads
Like,
that
they're
show up
angry about it.
that are just like, oh, all these other people are, yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, here's an opportunity for me to,
Be bad.
yeah. So it's just, sorry.
No, you're fine. Because they were like pouring milk on like cop cars, which was crazy to see. And like they were yelling at the cops, and then like the cops ended up blocking off the 2nd Street Bridge to where I just had to sit there and just
And you were in traffic?
literally in traffic.
Where did they get the milk?
I don't know. Like this what happened. Like I was right there, like on the 2nd Street, about to get on the bridge, and literally they just block off the bridge, and everybody's not moving in traffic. Like you ever seen a movie in New York City and like the town goes crazy and everybody's getting out their cars?
Yeah.
It was just like they were pouring milk on top of the cars. They were arguing with the cops. They were saying, like, Breonna Taylor, we need justice for Breonna Taylor, and just going insane. And it was crazy. And they were fighting, lighting trash cans on fire. They were standing on top of cop cars.
I
my
think
friends went
that
down
just
there.
brings a bad light to the situation.
Me and my friends went down there at like nighttime during it all, and like the police, actually not the police, the not the army, but the
Marshals.
no, it's
I
the
think the National Guard.
National Guard. They sent out rubber bullets. We've got the hell out of there.
And they throw like out these gas chambers to where like if you're out there, it'll like make your eyes like really smoky and like
Tear
face
gas.
in your face. Yeah.
Oh, that's something messy.
So like if you are in a trying to be peaceful and protest, like it's bad when you get the bad end of the
Yeah.
stick. So,
Yeah.
Well, kind of. I think when you two said it, it's like that. When you have people that really want change, and then there's people that just want to break a window. It's like it makes them mad. Like I have a friend who's the most like she's the most social justice like warrior like on the planet, and her big thing is like feminism movement. And this is like her words, not mine. But you always hear like when some people are like, "We don't need men, kill all men." She's like, "I don't agree with that. I just want to be treated equal." That's what the true movement is.
But
for
then
the
this happens. This is a commonality. Those two groups of people, even though they disagree, of like kill all men, I disagree. Those two people become conflated as the group.
as the one,
Yeah.
And it annoys like people
Yeah.
who are just like, no, I just hate the wage gap and I hate the way I
It
get
doesn't
looked at.
yeah.
Like it's just like it doesn't
It's
involve.
like, no, I
anything
care about real things right now.
Well,
not,
extreme.
I think because of the culture we live in, it's like
Extremism is given such a
you need to be
platform.
woke. Oh, but I want to be more woke.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to be equal. No, I want to be the only one. And it just continues to go. And
It's
then what started out as this serious movement that people were passionate about has now turned into like this ideal of almost mental illness of like, this is what I believe. I'm not going to listen to what anyone. I know I'm right.
Yeah.
I know what I say is true.
Yeah.
The extreme's the only way to go. And the people that are actually a part of the movement that these people are labeled under are like, no, like we just all want to be cool together. And they're like, no, we are
We
the
have to be
ones.
right.
We are the
Yes.
ones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, and I think that's where social media plays such a huge role
Yeah.
today in in politics in general is just where you get the worst voices from both sides get the biggest platforms to be
Yeah.
as loud and stupid as they want to be. I mean, it's both sides of the coin
'Cause
as far in either direction.
No matter how bad it is, it's real entertaining.
Yeah,
It's really
unfortunately,
entertaining.
That's
it's a
the
little
nature-
That's
goofy
the sad
haha.
part.
Yeah.
That's the nature of media nowadays.
That's a tragedy.
And it's like you have to think about that as like a reflection on the political state that we are in as a country, where it's like you look at almost anything in our news cycle today and you're like, oh, that's funny. This shouldn't be funny. These are the people that represent our country on a national and international level. We shouldn't, as people, be laughing at them because they're incompetent or,
I remember
something like that.
I remember vividly when I was like a kid. And I came from a mostly like Republican household. I remember when like Obama got reelected. The first thing my dad said was, "I hope he does good." Like that used to be a thing. If you're president that you lost, you're like, hey, I just hope this guy, he holds it down, he doesn't screw us over.
Right.
But nowadays it's like, nope, we gotta file lawsuits against
This
states.
person's mentally ill.
He's
Yeah.
insane. He cheated. We gotta. I'm like,
Whoa.
I'm like, I get it if you don't like him. I'm like, whoever, just, it's like everyone wants the same thing. It's like, even if I hate the guy, like, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not the biggest fan of like Donald Trump, but if he wins in my heart, I'm like, I hope somehow, some way he does a good job. Like, I'm rooting for the guy.
Again, that goes back to that thing, like your response to something is thought of in a positive light.
Yes, that's where that is.
Obviously, you can go on SNL and make fun of Donald Trump, but we should all hope that whoever is there is going to have our best interest.
Doesn't
in
screw
mind.
it all up.
Yeah.
I find it funny how, like, the previous debates that I would watch when I was younger, how I didn't understand the terminology. But it's like now, like Trump, watching him, like, just argue with people, it's like, I completely understand everything now. So it's like,
Well, Trump completely changed the idea of the debate.
It's all like
the JD Vance
Wall
The
debate.
president debate was so
that
much
was like
better.
what
It was
debates
refreshing.
were.
Yes.
It was very
It
refreshing.
was like,
to
you know
watch.
what? I know you care about this, and I agree with you on that. Here's where I'm different. Trump
Yes.
is just like, look at this guy. Why did he wear those shoes? And it's like, dude, calm down.
I think it's crazy that he's on the internet, like Twitter, like.
Yeah, no,
That's weird.
I personally, well, and like I understand that like they have, like it's not Trump or Biden, sitting there being like,
It's
"Hey, look
their-
at me, look what we did. They have
That's a
a
funny,
staffer doing it, but
That's a
I don't
funny
know.
picture of in the Oval Office, just like of like
Their Twitter
iPhone 4.
unemployment down. Hashtag let's go.
I think Trump is, I don't think it's all him, but I think he does like end the day and he's like, I'm not getting enough retweets on my last tweet. I need more.
Quote tweet that.
Quote tweet that. What does that say?
That's a banger.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think that's gonna do it for our time here. Yeah, that's a pretty good like discussion going into like some of the more deeper questions about like tragedy. And with all this stuff is, I think the best advice anyone can give is stay informed, stay safe,
Stay
and
positive.
Stay positive.
get through it, and
Stay
you'll be fine.
authentic.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't
Stay
take it so
real. Be
personal.
real.
Yeah.
And that's going to do us for the IUS Horizon podcast. Tune in on Wednesday. We're now bringing up 2 shows. So we'll see you then.
Krabby Patty. Krabby
We're
Patty.
talking about some Krabby Patties.
Oh, yeah. I
Wendy's.
completely forgot about the topic for Wednesday. So
The secret formula.
if you want exclusives to the Krabby Patty secret
I kind of want
formula,
to try that
it'll
Krabby
be
Patty.
Ben on Wednesday.
Let's try it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Speak
Do it
on the
live.
microphone with food in their mouth.
Everyone should try to do a SpongeBob laugh whenever they eat it.
Oh, God.
I can't. I've
That's
tried.
what the sauce does to you. It's
I've
like,
tried
it's
my
like a
entire
Joker
life.
laugh. It slowly morphs you into SpongeBob.
I can't do it.
More of that on Wednesday. I get it.